The Lord of the Rings is probably the longest book I have ever read, and yet I enjoyed every single minute of it. It took me about 20 hours to get through this, and what's so funny about that is that when you think of The Lord of the Rings, you obviously think about this specific tale of Sauron, Frodo, dwarves, elves, Gandalf. But what's so interesting is that The Lord of the Rings actually takes place in what is essentially a footnote in history. Literally a footnote in history, actually, because the end of this edition, there is a set of appendices that detail all the history. And this is one slight, tiny bit of a world in which magic is kind of starting to fade, which makes it so much more interesting that there's all this world building that's set out and comes together to form a much bigger, more impactful story. It really does feel like, rather than a world being written around this story, we are just getting a story that takes place in a much more expansive world. Definitely one that I can't recommend enough, and I can't really explain what it's like to read it until you do. This edition in particular contains the entirety of Lord of the Rings and some appendices that explain the history. Definitely one to look into. I've never actually watched the movies, and I'm really excited to do that. I have watched The Hobbit. Smaug is probably my favourite dragon in all of fiction. My favourite realistic dragon in all of fiction. I don't know where I'd put Toothless. Definitely want to read. Love this. We'll probably be doing a movie marathon at some point. Perhaps just because I don't tend to like fantasy personally, I think I'm going to put this at 4.5 stars out of 5. But in terms of the writing itself, I think there is a reason that this is one of the most popular and best-selling books of all time.